Hello again, everyone. Edwin Lerner back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about transit Jupiter square, opposition, or in conjunct one's natal Venus. Now, when we're talking about transits that involve Jupiter, this could be about expanding horizons, enthusiasm, exuberance, optimism, jocularity, joviality, the truth, veracity. And the thing about this is when the transit of Jupiter is basically making an adverse aspect to one's natal Venus. I'm going to elaborate on that. As far as when I say basically adverse aspect, okay, of course, the square and opposition aspects in astrology are adverse and negative, but the inconjunct is seen as neutral. But inconjuncts can often involve adjustments, transitions. They could cause some tension, have some exasperation. So collectively, basically, I do see this as an adverse aspect that is made. Now, again, when you have transit Jupiter basically making an adverse aspect to one's natal Venus, well, it may manifest in expanding horizons, enthusiasm, exuberance, optimism, jocularity, joviality, truth, veracity, and these things might conflict with your love and could be romantic partner, someone you're in a significant, it could be a significant other, an important friendship, and these things could be where maybe you're not you're having a harder time accepting the truth in these people. Say if Jupiter or transit Jupiter is in Pisces or even Venus is in Pisces, it could be something where the person people might be somewhat deceptive or duplicitous or maybe overly passive or weak-willed, and maybe you're having trouble in accepting these things, or just you're not seeing it. You're trying to put blinders on at this time as far as any transgressions go of these people. The thing about it is too, it's what we enjoy. I mean, Venus could be about what we love and enjoy as well. So it could be a time where you're having trouble summoning the enthusiasm, the exuberance to really do those things you really enjoy doing. It might be a time where you're not overly jocular about them. You don't have really that that again that enthusiasm to actually do those things. Say if the natal Venus is in Gemini, it could be manifold things. It could be doing things that require dexterity. Maybe it's auto refrigeration mechanics, or even juggling, or doing something connected, communication like writing or journalism, or data, satellite communications, anything that could be Gemini related. Could also be a time too when you look at Venus is about what we value at this time. And the values you have, they may be really they're not. It might be things that you're not as interested in. You don't have that, again, that exuberance or enthusiasm to be connected with them. You're not as happy maybe with those things that maybe you had valued before. And again, going back to zodiac sign Gemini, I mean, Venus is in Gemini, could be something superficial, some kind of superficial loves, or say Venus is in natal Venus in Aquarius. It could be just things that you do that are rather non-conforming or unorthodox, as some other examples. And the thing about it is, Jupiter can be about its jocularity, it can be about joking and humor. And at this time, keep in mind, Venus is connected with our self-worth, our self-esteem, and how we feel about ourselves. So it could be some kind of joking that may be going on, or somebody mocking you, or you might not really be in the mood for it. It might be lowering, your self-esteem and self-worth and how you feel about yourself. I mean, say if Jupiter's in Scorpio, transit Jupiter's in Scorpio, could be very caustic, sarcastic humor that you don't really, appreciate at this time, that you might be experiencing. It could be, somebody making a joke at your expense out of some kind of vengeance. As some examples of transit Jupiter was in Scorpio, for example. Now, the thing is, Venus is also associated with our peace, and it could be a time where, Jupiterian, people, they might conflict with that at this time, or it could be something that might be published, or in some cases it could be something slanderous, or you see on the internet. It could be, people that are in, religion, or publishers, or in higher education. They might be, it might be, some of these people may be doing things, or They're doing something that might be conflicting with your peace of mind at this time. Say if the transit, Jupiter, is in the fourth house as an example, or zodiac sign Cancer. It could be somebody adding some expansion, partition to the home, and it might be ruining your peace and quiet at this time, and might not feel like having to contend with this. Another thing too is that we look at Venus can be connected with art as well. If you're somebody that's enamored with art, whether it's a hobby or it's a profession, this is the time where you may not have that expansive Jupiter energy, that enthusiasm to go to do anything associated with this. It could be, say if natal Venus is in Pisces, it could be some kind of abstract art, mystical or fantastical art at this time. Another thing too, when you look at it, Venus anatomically is connected with the throat, the neck, the thyroid, the kidneys, the lower back. And at this time, it could be that if you're having any issues with these, it could be where it's bringing down your exuberance or enthusiasm. It could be maybe trying to do things outdoors, for example, or sports may conflict with these issues. It might be harder to do them if you have any of these afflictions that I just described that are anatomically connected with Venus. It could also be a time too when you look at this transit. Venus is about the food we enjoy. Jupiter, of course, could be over. It's reckless extravagance, could be overindulgence. This could be a time you need to be careful as far as overindulging in foods at this time that you really enjoy, because it could lead to some kind of obesity or very strong weight gain during this period. And the thing is to keep in mind that Venus is also connected with lawsuits. It's legal matters. So at this time, you could be, something could happen where it might be over, something that's published. It could be something, somebody connected with religion, or something with, your higher education. Something that could be Jupiter related that might cause, there might be some lawsuit that may have to be dealt with at this time. And Jupiter is also connected with the law. So it could be a very powerful period in some cases where there might really be intensified issues that are associated with lawsuits and legal matters at this point in time. It could be where a foreigner, may wind up suing you, or vice versa at this time. Now, anyway, another way that this transit may manifest, it could be difficult. Again, I'm going to reiterate what I said previously: the difficulty in being enthusiastic, being exuberant. It could be about, about a significant friendship, a relationship, a lover at this time. Say if natal Venus is in Capricorn as an example, it could be somebody that's being overly negative or despondent or pessimistic. Maybe sometimes it could be a Capricorn Sun, Moon, or Ascendant person, or simply one that embodies those characteristics, or simply an older person. Another thing too is that guard against being over optimistic over monetary matters at this time. And let's say, for example, if the natal Venus is in Aquarius, it could be money that you could be potentially making through, could be astrology, astronomy, computers, electronics, innovation, something with altruism or humanitarianism, working as an electrician. This is something as some examples, and it's important not to become too enthused on something and be over optimistic in terms of the money that's going to be made at this time from. It doesn't mean that you wouldn't make any money, but it might be where you're overestimating what's actually going to be received, or what you're going to do money wise at this time. Now, another thing too is keep in mind, this could also be expressed in philosophical differences with a lover, with an important friendship. It could be a significant other, a marriage partner. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. But anyway, let's say, for example, if Jupiter is in Sagittarius, maybe it's some philosophical differences connected with the law, with the truth, what's veracious, religion. It could be something, even a sports dispute in some cases. Um, could be a situation where it might be harder to see that truth in what you actually value. And say, for example, if your natal Venus is in Gemini, it could be, superficiality, it could be gossiping, sometimes vicariousness, maybe even mimicry in some cases. And these things could be something that are not, really benefiting you. And maybe it's harder to really see the truth or acknowledge these things as a reality at this time. Now, the thing about this too is keep in mind, Jupiter, it could be issues connected with the liver, the pancreas, sciatic nerve, the hip. Um, it may because those are body parts that are connected with Jupiter. Those things, if you do have them, it may adversely affect your enjoyment, the things you love to do. And say, for example, if your natal Venus is in Scorpio, it could be something with recycling or locksmithing or doing something with the occult, which includes astrology, something with transformation. It could be rebuilding an engine, as an example, or might even be, extreme sports in some cases if you are, somebody that's athletically inclined or engages in sports regularly. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Leonard saying stay well.